We're here. We're live. It's Monthly Minutes on a Saturday.
Woo!
I'm sleepy. I haven't had coffee yet, and it's noon. Adam's got a beverage.
Currently
Avis,
drinking coffee.
how are
I
you
have an empty
feeling?
cup. Pretty good. Pretty good.
All right. Well, welcome, watchers, viewers, people, humanoids, all and wide. This is making no sense.
I think we've covered everything. We've got all of our bases covered.
Specters and monsters as well, maybe. We are Mystic, aka GMDM, Adam, aka Godfrey, and Avis, aka Ziba of the podcast. We're here to answer questions and chat through the last few episodes. This is later in the monthly minutes because of spring break and busyness. So we have a lot to cover. So I'm going to dive right in. Unless someone wants to add something, you're welcome to.
I'm 70% ready.
Okay. I feel like I'm
Almost
20% ready. Beautiful. All right. We're gonna skip episode 29. I know we touched on it in the last monthly minutes. We didn't talk all the way through it. But essentially you all see a little kobold in your camp while you're on the road to Wimpston. You've learned about gnolls. You've seen people patrolling. And we're going to go right to episode 30, which is The Road to Wimpston, Part 3. Part 3. It took a while to...
It was an eventful journey.
It was an eventful journey. I just have like a general random D&D question for you both. How do you feel about travel in D&D?
It's either a thing or it's not. Like, I think it really depends who you're playing with. Sometimes it's just like, and we're there. Yep. Just take off 2 days off your sheet. Yep. Sounds good. And other times it's like, oh, things are happening. And, when you develop more of a relationship with the group, I think traveling becomes more of a pastime where you can share those inside jokes and stuff like that. But sometimes, in the beginning especially, it's just, okay, 24 hours later, we've arrived.
Yeah.
I enjoy making travel into a big deal, especially when the group decides to go off the road. Like I think then travel gets really interesting and should be like weird and dangerous. And it's when they're on the road, I think is the most difficult time to like do travel because like you can't have monsters just on the road all the time because then the roads wouldn't be safe. And like, what are the people in the continent doing and why are they allowing it, and it becomes like a big mess. But I really enjoy it, and I make it like a focal point when I'm running games to make sure that travel is like it's a thing, it's important, things happen. But that's also because I have a ranger in the party, so I want to make sure that they're feeling to their fantasy as much as all the other characters.
Yeah, absolutely. That's a good point. I'm half and half. I think maybe y'all have experienced that in the campaign where I think that like the road to Wimpston, there's a strong story narrative as to why that is what the way that it is. And also the RP was awesome throughout that travel. But there's other times where I'm like, yeah, you don't need to take watches. Let's just you sleep through the night and it's fine, or like you travel through the day and you're good to go. Always offering room for RP though. Never gonna squash that. So in The Road to Wimpston Part 3, this is where Ziba cleans her backpack and is like carrying all of her stuff while she's walking.
Because I said I was going to, and by the time I remembered it was like we're walking. I'm like, well, I gotta do it. We're doing it now, I guess. Multitask.
It was a great role play, and I loved the arguments between like Morgus and Livy about like who should be taking care of that, and like yes, it was great. It doesn't take long in this episode before you all make it to Wimpston. where you're able to see the city for the first time. I just said city again. It's not a city, it's like a little village full of farmland and just rural to the max, is how I imagine it, at least. And it's the first time in this episode, it's the first time we see an actual player character pray to Mysteria. So yeah, you head into the city and there's that fountain of Mysteria in the center, and everyone's just hanging out. And then Adam, you have Godfrey go pray to Mysteria at the fountain. Talk to me about that. Is Godfrey, like, is he a devout man, or was it just like, this seems like the right thing to do culturally?
So I think it's more the seems like a right thing culturally. I know growing up, like in Rick Monish, it's very monotheistic, right?
Yes.
And like everyone knows about Mysteria. And I think there are aspects in Godfrey's life where he believes Mysteria has like intervened or done things. So he's not like go to organize services of Mysteria, but he's more like when he needs guidance, he'll go and he'll spend the time and he'll, you know, take a moment to pray at the altars. And also there's an altar there. So as a player, like I have to be like, we should interact with this somehow.
You're like, this is a button I should push.
Yeah, I should see what happens when a player actually does this.
Yeah. And you got the message, follow your heart.
Mm-hmm.
But Scylla did not.
But Scylla did not. You're right, Avis.
But Scylla also didn't ask a question, right? She just kind of silently contemplated.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
We don't know this. Who knows?
Yeah.
We're allowed to metagame in the
Yeah.
talking in the monthly minutes.
Yeah, we're analyzing.
Dear.
We're not in character right now.
I also loved that, Avis, you were like, Ziba just looks at the fountain like disparagingly.
Yeah, we're in that awkward, like, what is religion phase, you know?
Yeah.
I feel like a lot of people go through that.
Yeah, absolutely. Olivia asks a town folk person where to find the Lying Woodpecker, which you all had learned was the inn and restaurant in town from some of the guards. And you make your way there to find outside, working with the horses, a man named Kevin. This is your first interaction with Kevin. I'm very curious what you all were thinking as I was role-playing and describing Kevin to the party.
He grew on me. First, I was like, all right, I'll remember him. And then at the end, I'm like, I like this guy. You know? I like him a lot. I could get along with him.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was like, wow, we're taking a lot of time to describe this Kevin fellow. And then I was also like, oh, the entire party is thirsting after Kevin right now. Like,
Yep.
This is... How do we make sure that this doesn't become a 30-minute scene with Kevin?
Well,
I'm mostly kidding. Like, if people wanted to make it a 30-minute scene with Kevin, it made sense. But
Yeah.
after being on the road and role-playing for as long, like, I, as a player, I'm like, I want to get to the next thing. Like, I want to go.
Yeah,
But
for
then
sure.
Kevin.
But there's Kevin in the way.
Mhm.
I was really all there for his directions, and I just think he's a really smart fellow, and it's gonna help us a lot in the future.
I hope so. I hope Kevin is loved and helps the party in any way that he can, which is his own special way. So you head inside, you meet one of the sisters that owns the tavern, and she tells you a little bit about what's going on, and you all rent rooms for the evening, and Ziba sees a dog and runs into the restaurant area to go pet the dog and politely asks, which means you're a rock star, someone taught you properly.
I don't know if he's working or not. You gotta ask these things.
Yeah. And then really that's really it with that episode. You make it through town, you meet Kevin, you head inside, you gain some information. You learn that everyone inside the bar currently is sad and depressed because they're missing loved ones. And that's kind of the end of the episode. Unless I'm forgetting something you all want to call out.
Let me look at my notes. But I don't think so.
My cats just did something crazy.
Oh.
Cool. Yeah. And then, so yeah, the next episode, a loved one's lost. The party starts interviewing all of
A lot of people.
yeah, a lot of people, all of the patrons of the Lying Woodpecker. And I think this is my favorite part of this is at the beginning, and maybe it's at the end of the Road to Wimston Part 3, but you talk about who should approach these people and talk to them. And Adam, you're just like, as Godfrey, you're just like, I probably shouldn't be that person because I can be a little off-putting to people. And then eventually, after you've talked to like 4 people, someone's like, well, we need someone to go talk to the guy at the organ while I go do something else. And you're like, I'll do it.
Yeah.
There was no hesitation. Just previously, maybe I shouldn't. No, I'm all for this now.
Yeah.
I like to put that out there so when my character does do it, there's a moment where someone else could be like, wait, and like stop my character from doing it. But if no one stops it, I'm just so down
No one did, I don't think.
to be the off-putting -1 charisma character. Going up and talking to people.
I love that so much. Yeah, you interview a few different people. I mess up at one point and say yes to the romantic love question and then realized that I was wrong and then had to like RP through that one. You meet a real life bear, humanoid.
We
Named
didn't spend
Caesar.
enough time getting to know that bear. I want to talk to him some more.
Keeps honeybees.
This seems like
Yeah.
a wonderful person.
So, hypothetically, could a player play as a bear?
Yeah.
That's wonderful. Keeping that tucked in the
Write that
back
down,
of my
write that down.
mind.
If Godfrey ever dies.
Godfrey ever dies. I don't know why he would.
I
Not
don't
doing
know either.
anything
Let's-
reckless at all.
Knock on wood right now.
Yeah.
But when I can't handle that breakdown, thank you.
Yeah, so this episode was a little hilarious in terms of, for me at least, listening back at like kind of the shitty job I was doing as a DM, to be honest. Just like laying on things really thick and like messing up what I was trying to convey to you all. Maybe you didn't realize, but for me it was like, what are you doing, Sierra? And you all figure out that people that are going missing are loved ones of people in the town. And it doesn't matter what type of love. It's like a father and son relationship, and a brand new love, and a brother sister, and a husband and wife. And you see Philip and
Breaking a lot of glasses. That is the most prominent thing in my mind when I hear that name.
yeah, I think I laid it on a little thick. It's fine. It's fine. I loved Daniel's reaction to that. He was like, "You hear the sound of breaking glass." The guy loves his wife. Yeah.
We take it in a very different tone.
Yeah. But Avis, let's talk about Ziba in this situation because
what a time.
I did not realize in session, I did not realize what was happening until we got to the end and you were like the crying scene and I was like, oh fuck. Yeah.
I think it was kind of funny because you just kept checking with me. I'm like, oh yeah, don't worry, I'm still on the floor. Just crying.
Mhm.
Don't worry about it. Because I like didn't want to interrupt like the interviews. Because I felt like that wasn't the time for it. I'd rather just have that all consecutively. So I
Yeah.
was like, no, don't worry about it. I'm just gonna sit here on the floor crying. It's fine. It's all good here. And like me as a person, I was like, no, really, it's fine. And then you like actually came to, I'm like, okay, I have to get in character. And then the breakdown.
Yeah.
It was a good time. I knew I wanted to do that as soon as I started hearing all these stories. I was like, this has to happen. It has to. I just gotta find the right moment.
That's amazing. And I didn't even connect like the backstory to the yeah. It was really cool. And you deserve a podcast Oscar for that. Like sometimes I forget, like I don't know how many times I listened to it. I listened to it a lot in editing, but like at least one or two of those times I like had a tear, you know?
I
It
think
was
I actually
good.
did start crying when I was acting that out. It was like,
Yeah.
this is kind of heartbreaking if you think about it.
It really is. It really is. Yeah. Also love that you're like, I'm gonna wipe my nose on this dog and then stand up and like tell Livy how I'm feeling.
I think I just started like asking for like a pen and paper. And the people are like, oh, and I think that's when people started connecting of what's happening there.
Yeah. For sure.
Because suddenly everyone was like, oh god, everyone get over to Ziba.
Yeah. I also, listeners don't know this, but this all happened at the very end of a 3-hour play session. So Avis like gets in character, starts actually crying, and me being an asshole, also looking at the clock, I'm like, and that's where we're gonna end the session. And everyone was like, what? And then we had to pick up from there. And I think it does I don't think podcast listeners would realize that with the way that you just picked it right back up again, which is also amazing. Like, kudos to your RP, Avis.
I don't have a great memory, as you've seen from some of my recaps, but there's always like one thing that I remember happening. I'm like, oh yeah, I gotta bring that back.
Yep. Yeah. Did I miss anything in Loved Ones Lost?
What I saw is we also got all those bounties
Oh,
before
yeah.
we went in. I think that was another important part. We had that conversation with the town about Bigfoot and why it was important and why people were frustrated with it. And I thought that was an important part.
For sure. I forgot about that. You realize there are two factions of belief essentially in the town. Half the town thinks the gnolls are just stealing and killing people, and half the town believes it's actually a big, which is important for later on.
Why would it be important for later on?
I don't know, Adam. I don't know.
I really don't know. I'm still like 80% convinced it is Bigfoot.
That's cool.
It's real.
What? We don't. Okay.
Just
We're good.
okay.
Never mind. Ignore me.
All right.
I was remembering where we're at story wise and the episodes we're talking about and not talking about.
Yeah,
So-
yeah. Cool. So the second half of Loved Ones Lost, Ziba and Livy write this note home for Ziba. Get through that. Godfrey leaves, goes back outside to talk to Kevin after learning that Kevin might be a member of the Wimston Carousel Court. Scylla and Morgus quickly follow after. And
Cece.
yeah, this is where you learn about CC, whisper hissing CC at people. And it takes you to the stalls in the stable and you all have a conversation. Really fun moment for me as a DM. I've also consciously been thinking about the fact that Godfrey wears a mask and like is directly interacting with people.
Mhm.
And so far my thought has been that like all the people you've interacted with directly are just too polite to like question or like say anything. And then you meet Kevin.
Mhm.
And Kevin just looks at Scylla and is like, "What are you wearing?" And then points at you and is like, "What's that?"
Yeah.
It's just like, what? Who are you people? And I loved the opportunity to finally like kind of call that out. It was really fun.
Yeah, I have to keep remembering that Godfrey wears a mask too.
Mm.
It's come up a couple times in a couple different sessions where I've been thinking like, oh, Godfrey's looking like this, or like conveying emotion by the way he looks, but then I stopped myself from saying it because no one could see Godfrey's emotional affect at any time. Just
Yeah.
I have to get more into like describing the physical, like what his body's doing to convey that. Or it might just be because he's low charisma, he never does convey what he's
Mm.
feeling to people around him. And that's a challenge that I've recognized after our last recording session that I'm going to be thinking about more.
Yeah, for sure.
Sometimes I think about, like, I theorize that if someone were to connect me to a missing poster, because you think I'm conspicuous, but, like, people I'm traveling with aren't exactly normal. So I'm like, what if, like, it comes back to my family and they just hear, yeah, she was last seen with this masked man. And, and like, describing the party, they're gonna be like, she's getting sold into slavery. Like, like, they just make the worst assumptions off that. I'm like, I
I
just
mean,
think, I wonder.
Livy and Morgus is a little overboard in like his dress and attire, but like Livy and Morgus are pretty like normal looking. Aside from the gold eyeliner.
I was gonna say, like, what is it, like glitter eyeshadow and gold eyeliner?
Yeah. Great. You have this conversation with Kevin. It was very hard for me not to break character and laugh on multiple occasions during that. Morgus tries to oh, Kevin.
Morgus was just so antagonistic that whole time. Like Godfrey goes in there looking for
The most
information,
sassy.
and Morgus is just being pure sass. And it's just like, Morgus, please. We're trying to talk to him right now.
You learn that he naps with the horses, that there's another Carousel Court member who's a young girl named Carling.
Oh, yeah.
And he agrees to take you there before nap time with the horses the next day. He says it's about a 3-hour maybe walk ish. 3-hour-ish walk. After that, you all leave Kevin in that stall and head back inside. And the Ziba sends her letter. And you learn that they get post in Wimston about every 2 weeks. So it
Written in
won't go
gold
out
ink.
for a little while. Yeah, written in gold ink. They're gonna be like, what the hell? And you take your long rest. And I believe that's the end of that episode. We were worried about episode content, but I feel like they're just like really great RP episodes.
There's so many tiny things happening. They're gonna all come together at some point.
Mm-hmm.
Do you have your mind map out?
My
All the
mind map?
pins
That's the only
and
way I
lines?
can think. It's just a chaotic mind map of like, okay, here's a bubble. It's connected to this one, right
Yeah.
here. That's the only thoughts in my head.
Yeah, for sure. Well, we move on to the next episode, episode 32, the Wimston CCHQ. You all wake up in the morning. Godfrey and Livy go to the spring to bathe. Only to find out that the only reason Livy went was to try to see Godfrey without his mask on, which didn't work. And Morgus and Ziba have a really hilarious exchange about pancakes and pancake flavor and prestidigitation.
Yeah. There's a lot of pancakes in this world that I don't know how that relationship's developing, but I feel like eventually pancakes are gonna have a very specific meaning for Ziba.
Yeah. Oh, that's kind of cool.
It's a good meaning. That's up for debate still. It's usually after something traumatic or right before something traumatic, so. See.
Well,
Mhm.
I think Zibba did the traumatizing in this episode, but
Yeah.
um so you continue going throughout your morning. You all are kind of just talking, trying to plan what you're going to do for the day, and Kevin shows up and he's ready to take you to the court. But when he pops in, Aurora asks to have Kevin take Philip his lunch, just a sacked lunch that he forgot on his way out in the morning. Because Philip owns the magic shop, which is really a potion shop in Wimston.
In fact, that man's throwing around potions. Probably a good thing his wife didn't take his lunch.
So we head out. We head through Wimston to get to Mixing It Up, the potion shop. And along the way, Adam, you kind of key in like this is the same exact path that one of the missing people took. I want to ask. You say that with I'm assuming the intention of like getting a role or like talking to the group about it. So what was the original intention there before Livy was like, yes, tunnels and sewers and holes and like, what do I see?
It spiraled.
Yeah.
Well, no, like, the intention was just to like call back to that and be like, hey,
Mm.
we've done our research, we talked to some people, and this is the exact path that we got. So like as a character, he's like, we should look for things. Like there might be something suspicious in the path. And as a player, this is like the DM purposely told us and we're going the same way. Like there has to be something here, right? So we should
Mhm.
probably look for something, or like the absence of things would also be a clue, you know?
Mhm.
So whether there is or isn't, like it's an important thing to note.
Yeah. Yeah. You don't get to explain any of that because it comes in hopping on that a bit of information and trying to figure out if there are sewers, and we kind of derail on like the time and sewers and if they
Do showers
existed.
exist? Yeah.
Yeah, it's just like a
Oh,
kind of a
yeah.
derail.
Like, do
Where's the
sewers exist in
technology?
ancient times? And then
Yeah.
turns out, yes. Yes, they
Yeah.
have.
It spiraled pretty quickly.
It spiral very quickly.
We do have a better idea though now about the technology available, which is good.
Yeah. It's weird to be a high magic world set in like the late 1400 kind of a landscape because magic aids lots of things, but it doesn't make sewers. Yeah. So you guys roll and you find out that there's nothing. There's no sewers, there's no clues, you don't see anything out of the norm on your walk. Zibba rolls really low and finds a wooden ball that she kicks all the way to the
Oh, God.
potion shop.
Helping.
Yeah. Then you get to the potion shop and you meet Philip in his element, I'll say. Like a little more in his zone than behind the bar at a restaurant. What were your initial thoughts or takeaways from the experience at Mixing It Up?
Wasn't there like a bird or something in the store? Or am I thinking of a different store?
No bird in that store. Don't
Different
think.
store. He was the guy though that gave us the potions, or gave the potions to the other guy in the other town that we were asked to test.
Mhm.
Right?
To
Avinash.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yes, that was quite the tie around. I was like, "What? These people know each other?"
Yep.
I mean, a couple things. Looking at him, it was like, well, people who are in love are going missing. I was kind of surprised we found Phil there. I was like, oh, great. He's not missing yet. This is wonderful. Certainly would be a shame if something happened to him. And then
I did not think that.
he was talking about experimenting on polymorphing things into things, which
Mhm.
is an interesting, like there's a chance that had something to do with maybe a disappearance, but At least that's just my thought process on it. Might not be the case for sure. But it was interesting. Like, no reason to stay there very long, though.
Didn't Morgus try like investing in his business?
I think so. And I think Mystic froze.
Yeah.
So at first I thought I was just getting deadpanned for things that I was saying, but I'm glad that is not the case.
Oh, good.
Good.
I'm very excited about those potions, though.
Yeah,
Where do we go from there?
From there, we went with Kevin to go find the HQ of the Winston Carousel Court. Kevin
Were
took
you
us.
frustrated by how long that took?
My character's frustrated by how long that took. I, as a player, like, that's wonderful. Just a nice jaunt through the forest, you know? Mystic had some technical difficulties, but she will return soon. But yeah, Kevin leads us to the HQ.
I love that walk. I am still insistent on the fact that he did it so no one was following us. Honestly, it's just tactically smart.
Yeah, like, honestly, might be true. I wouldn't like, it makes sense. Not against that reasoning. He got us there, which I was surprised with. Like, we actually made it.
I do think, didn't we had to like help him a little bit? Because he was just looking for an echo.
Yes. He was looking for a particular
We're
echo.
like, maybe we should try that way.
Yeah.
We all need some help sometime. I still think he's a smart fellow.
Yeah. And we get there, and we had heard that they had made traps out in front.
Oh, yes.
And then, like, he did a specific walk through, and then we all followed. But someone missed
why
it.
did we follow is still my question. Like, what was the trap, allegedly?
I think one of us triggered it. Right?
No, because after we crossed the river, there was like some badly placed spikes in the sand that did nothing.
Yeah.
But I always wondered, why did we follow his steps so specifically? Is because we hadn't gotten to that point. We didn't know if the traps were like decent or not.
Yeah, exactly. We hadn't come, like, we had not yet discovered the full breadth of talent that the Winston Carousel Court contains.
The off-brand Carousel Court. You're right. I think we were more
up until
doubtful.
until that point, we had to like work under the assumption that they were legitimate traps and it was dangerous and we didn't want to activate them. It was hard to set back up.
Did we even do that on the way out, or were we just like,
no?
See ya, bye?
I honestly think we went in a different direction once we left.
Oh yeah, because we got back way faster.
Yeah, but we also went off to go complete a bounty instead of going back to town.
Honestly, though, I think they might have a cooler base than us, and I don't know how to feel about that.
I don't think it's cooler. I mean, it's a better location and it's got some cool stuff in it.
They got poisonous mushrooms. That seems pretty cool.
That's it. I'm kicking myself for not asking to have tried to harvest one of those poisonous mushrooms.
Maybe you still can. I don't know. They probably want you to wait till after the dance. Allegedly.
Well, we could probably find their hideout without them.
Now, yeah.
No bad. Find some of those mushrooms. I think those mushrooms.
What would you have done with the mushrooms?
Well, Godfrey has an herbalism kit, so he's able to like pick plants and flowers and stuff. And if it creates spores that make people vacate, you could just think of all the things you can make.
All right, add a new concern as to why I should be afraid of Godfrey. Write that down.
But we didn't. Oh, are we still live? That is a question.
We're just sitting here chatting.
How do I check that? Are we live on our YouTube channel? Is that ever where we're live? What does he? Yep. Well, I mean, for the first time, technical difficulties has struck monthly minutes.
Yeah.
So
It's not me.
It's not you either.
I have a really bad track record.
Yeah,
Ooh.
I'm sure we've talked about it before on the monthly minutes, but there's tech issues every single session. Somewhere.
90% of the time it's me. Just pop it in and out, stop recording, it's fine.
I feel like it hasn't been. I mean, there was that one session recently.
That
It
was
hasn't
literally
been,
2 sessions ago. That was
Well, yeah, that 2 sessions ago, but that was just tech cursed in general. Like,
yeah, that's
everyone
point.
had a tech problem.
And an accidental like streaming to Twitch or stuff like that.
Yeah.
I'm not seeing live on YouTube or on Twitch, if that is what she's asking.
Yeah, I don't think we usually go live on Twitch.
We tried once. Can't say it went well.
I mean, yeah, that's true. There was that Wingspan debacle.
We'll figure it out. It'll be good.
Yeah. So if we're not live, then we don't have to worry that we're talking to anyone right now.
Vibe.
Oh, but if we are still live, that interaction with Carling and Ziva, A+.
Oh,
Everything.
I loved that whole moment.
Mm-hmm.
Like, oh, we are live for Patreon.
Oh, we're live for Patreon. Wonderful. Okay. Wonderful, wonderful. I am not a high enough of a Patreon member.
No.
But it is wonderful,
Seriously.
and this is what I think is some of our best content outside of our actual podcast. It's our monthly minutes.
I enjoy it. I enjoy being on here.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun.
What? My question though is, why did no one stop me? Was everyone secretly wanting me to throw her in the creek?
Yes.
Fantastic.
I think it was like, she's a child, right? And
I
she
tried
was
giving
like,
a moment. I was like, I'll pick her up. And I like held her there. I was like, anyone to stop me? All right.
No. And she was a child, so Godfrey wasn't going to fight her when she was asking to fight people in the party. But you are also
Child on child violence approved.
So you are fine fighting.
Can't stop that. You know, I could see that. You know, like a large 6 foot tall man picking up a small feminine child.
Yeah.
That could be frowned upon.
Yeah.
Child on child violence. That's a parent issue, and I have no parents, so who's gonna stop me?
Exactly.
Who's gonna stop me?
Livy? I don't think so.
I missed it. Didn't she say like was it her dad that was the blacksmith or someone else's dad?
It's someone else is the blacksmith. We have the blacksmith.
But she has a dad, and I was secretly like,
yeah.
What would happen if I run into that man? Like, would she snitch on me? Like, would her parents know?
I don't know. She probably.
But it's a secret. It's a secret club, right? So.
I don't think she would admit to anyone that someone else bested her and dropped her into a river.
You never know. There's some people. People.
That's true. Maybe she would. Well, our actions don't have consequences. Come on.
Don't let Mystic hear you say that.
It's okay. She's not here.
You're right. We can say whatever we want. Nothing has consequences. What?
No. Oh, no. Uh-oh.
Blue
Looks
screen
like-
of death for Mystic.
Yeah, Mystic blue screened. That's bad. But it's not the bad blue screen. This is the something went wrong and we're making sure everything's fine blue screen.
I've had both blue screens. I've had to get my hard drive replaced on my laptop before. Good times.
Your hard drive replaced in your laptop. That's rough. Like that's hard to
Yeah, it's from playing the Webkins. What am I gonna do? Don't play Webkins anymore, guys. It's full of viruses.
I have no idea what Webkins is.
That's my childhood, man. Don't worry about
Yeah.
it.
Yeah, that's the old man coming in. Alright, what happened next? You dumpstered Carling, and that was great. Everyone wanted it, no one stopped it.
We haven't run into her since. I'm curious to see what her reaction is next time we meet,
Mm.
because she just kind of started crying,
Yeah. It was kind
and
of sad.
we just kind of left.
Yeah.
We're like, oh, I didn't mean to make her
Yeah.
cry. It was kind of like you like hit your sibling and they start crying and you go, stop,
Yeah.
stop.
Yeah, please no.
I don't want to deal with that.
But because
Um,
we're all like disconnected from this court, and I think we were all just like pretty pissed at that point of finding nothing. It's
Yeah.
kind of like a real talk shit get hit moment. You know,
We did. We just talked to get hit.
We
We
didn't-
leaving. Bye.
we didn't do anything
Yeah.
violent to her. We just dropped her and insulted her.
It wasn't even a
Um,
violent drop. It was more just
yeah,
the fact
yeah.
that she got wet.
Exactly. It
I was like,
wasn't-
I could have done some damage.
Yeah.
Count yourself lucky. I'm just curious. Like next time I meet her, is she gonna have a grudge on me?
yeah, is she gonna try to fight again?
Yeah. Like, is she gonna like come at me, or is she gonna be terrified of me,
I don't
or
know.
maybe just embarrassed? Maybe she just doesn't want to acknowledge or talk to me. I don't know, and I'm kind of
Yeah.
curious.
We'll have to figure it out next time we find her.
I would like to be a little bit prepared if it's fight on site, but I mean, I can take it.
Yeah, I don't. Judging by the first interaction, I feel like a fight on site would be very one-sided.
The off-brand carousel court isn't exactly
Yeah,
muscle
yeah.
or brains. I don't know what we classify them as.
We don't know. Kevin, like, there is a conspiracy for me that Kevin is actually like a pretty high-level druid.
Hey, I've been saying I think
Yeah.
there's something there. There's strategy behind what he's doing. It might not seem like it right now, but
He might be like a low int, high wisdom. So he does things really off track, but it's just always the right thing to do somehow.
look, it always
you know?
works out. Yeah.
I can see that.
High wisdom, low intelligence.
Yeah, but we
Doesn't think
also
through,
learned
but
that
it's
there's,
the correct
a s-
motion.
There's a Satyrs festival and a secret location. Like that's something we got from Carling.
Oh yeah. Is it really secret though if she knows about it?
Probably not. Mystic's back.
Mystic!
Ah,
Whoa.
my
We
computer
worked
had a
through finding the
failure.
carousel court, and we're talking about Carling.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All Carling. What do you think's a secret?
The Satyr festival. Is it really a secret if they know about it? I don't feel like it's really a secret the whole town knows about it, and they're telling these people who just came in from out of town. Maybe it's like a local secret that they only don't tell you. They just like take a look at you and don't like you.
Or it's just more character information that Carling's just really bad at keeping secrets.
I could definitely see that. That kind of fits with the CCMO.
Yeah.
Well, she said people know about the festival, but they don't know where it happens. The festival that happens in their town is just an echo of like this huge fertility festival that the satyrs do.
Mhm.
It's like a compliment.
Alright.
And then Scylla made a joke about how she doesn't want to eat bad mushrooms and go find a kid.
Don't even remember that comment.
I hope you talked about the echolocation stuff.
Yeah, we
Yeah,
definitely
great.
did.
Great. Awesome.
Yeah.
Cool. We'll keep going. I'm now just a spectator.
Well, then we decided not to make everything a waste and tried to check for the next bounty, right? Or see if
Mhm.
there was a bounty close by. We found out that the I can't remember the name of the bounty. It's like help my
Centaur's
home.
love.
Centaur's love.
That would
Yes.
make sense. It was the name of the episode.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And we went there and we found some bats and some kobolds and decided to not attack right away and try to take a diplomatic approach.
Mhm.
Livy decided to go out and do the talking while we all hid in the brushes around.
I feel like we
Godfrey-
often try that diplomatic approach. It just doesn't work.
Yeah. But it worked
It
this time. This
For
is like
once.
fairly effective. Yeah. Godfrey found a mushroom with rabbit ears
Twice the mushroom.
and hid it under his hat.
Mm-hmm. I love the moment where like you had a plan and Godfrey's like, and break. And so like everyone goes, and Morgus just like goes into Bitsy and stands in one place and just starts talking. Just translating from Draconic to Common. And Zimba goes up and shakes him. I love that Daniel was like, whoa, whoa. Yep.
I know, it's the best way to get his attention.
Mm-hmm. And then Godfrey, at one point, you're like, I don't know. Morgus has been translating. Just it seems like it's going well. And Daniel's like, I'm sorry. Simba took me out of it. Should I go back?
We're in this weird thing of like,
Yeah.
we needed to listen in, but we needed Daniel to move, and then we were trying to be sneaky, and it worked.
Mhm.
Best laid plans.
Yeah.
You meet Rarstraw and Dan.
Damn.
One of the best moments.
The
That's
names in this episode were fantastic.
just classic comedy right there.
Who? Who's that?
Rarstraw. Yeah. I also think it was funny. I was like, you see giant bats in the sky, and y'all were like, flying foxes? Like, how big is giant? And I'm like, they're really big. And you're like, but like, are they just flying foxes? Like, what? And I'm like, they're giant, large beasts.
Bats
And
the
it-
size of horses.
I want
Yeah.
a comparison.
And Zimba, you were like super suspicious of the bats most of the time.
I have a thing against bats.
Personally, or Zimba
Personally.
does?
Personally, I've had to get one too many rabies shots because of dang bats. I
Oh
have
no.
Oh.
a personal vengeance against them. Thankfully, I got the
Ah.
rabies shots for free because of bats as well. So
That's scary.
You know,
it's good. I don't think it bit me. It was just I was unconscious, and it was like in the room with me, and they're like, "Well, you need to get rabies shots." Anyways, I more just didn't enjoy getting the rabies shots. The bat wasn't really bothering me. The rabies shots, that was no.
mhm.
If you have to go through that, don't. It's
Oh,
annoying.
they hurt really bad, don't they?
The first like 2 or 3, you have to get them at the same time. You get like one in your thigh and like one in your butt, and it's not fun. And you have to go back consistently for like a month or 2 to keep getting like the rest of the shots, which is annoying to have to go all the way to the hospital and back just to get one shot.
I'm fascinated.
The rabies
It's-
shot, it was not fun.
It's better than having rabies.
Yeah. For sure.
But yeah, that's why I have a vengeance against bats because I had to go through that horrible ordeal and then deal with insurance because I was on a public like property when it happened, and so I had to make them pay for it. It was a time.
Whoa. The more you know.
So bats, they're suspicious, and they should always be treated with suspicion. They're nice, but like, are they?
I'm gonna
Yeah.
wake up at some point today. So yeah. Godfrey, I love that you rolled that natural 20 perception or investigation, whatever it was,
Mhm.
because the interactions between you and the Mushroom King We're gold.
Nice. It was really just like a, what do I do? What is this? How do I?
Yep. You don't see me.
I clearly, I do. That's good.
So you pop him up and you put him in your hat, and yeah, you go back out to the group and you start answering questions for the mushroom in your hat, and everyone thinks you've gone crazy.
That's
The-
fair.
he says, yes. All right, we'll believe you.
I am in contact with the person who wrote the bounty.
It was great. Yeah, and that's pretty well. Livy puts one of the arrows from the Call to Adventure encounter, the dream, that Ziva and Livy played through almost a year ago.
Oh yeah, I had to bring back some memories there, and I was like, oh goodness, it was like, did she give me the crown? Did someone else pick that up? But she was fighting. I remember that.
Yeah,
It very felt like a dream because I was like, details.
fuzzy, shimmery around the edges.
Yeah.
Yeah, so Livy places that arrow at the foot of the statue of Galdi in the center of this clearing where the kobolds are like making her their god in a way, the way kobolds do. He comes back out and is talking to you all, and you see a light shoot into the sky. And that's the end of the episode.
No idea what happens after that.
Me neither.
That was such a cliffhanger that we didn't meet for 4 weeks.
Yeah, that was the end of our play session, and then yeah, we didn't play for a month.
Yeah.
Because of things, life things.
Real world events happened.
I just remember us like trying to meet, and instead we played Wingspan, Adam, and you were like, I want to know what's gonna happen.
I'm so invested. And like, it's, yeah.
Yeah.
The listeners will hear when the next episode comes out on
Tomorrow, Monday.
Monday?
2 days.
Yeah. What's
2
time?
days. Oh, they don't know.
No.
Yeah. Well, cool.
Yeah.
Do y'all have any questions for me before I interrogate you?
I feel like I should, but I'm trying to think of what I can and can't
What?
ask right now.
What is the name of the planet we're on?
Woo!
Woo! All right.
Good time.
I know that now. That's fun.
Through the recap of these episodes, I have one thing just like boxed in from one of the dumb jokes we did.
Mm-hmm.
And it was, I'm sorry, this isn't a question. I'm just
That's fine.
derailing.
Yeah, that's cool.
When Ziba was suspicious of everyone because she couldn't see their feet. And all I have written down in my notes for that section, and it's in a box, and it's underlined like 3 times, and it has a 100% next to it. It just says Wiki Feet for D&D characters. And every time I look at it, I'm like, oh no.
Remember that? I stayed up all night and just asked intimate details about how they slept because I was trying to keep my eyes on them. Is that something you thought you'd be asked for this campaign? How exactly are you sleeping?
Are your feet out?
How big are they?
Like, how would I know?
Oh, jeez.
No one hold that against me, okay? I still don't know, really.
Hey, you don't.
I still haven't seen a beat. Still up for suspicion.
Probably
The
won't
Bigfoot
until
could
we
be a
see a
thing.
Bigfoot, you know?
All right, Ziba, I have a question for you. Did Ziba leave any pets behind at home?
Not personal pets, no. They had like animals around the farm, mainly to do farm work or serve for some product or something like that like she had to care for and like did care for in like an emotional sense,
Mm-hmm.
But I wouldn't say like a personal pet. That wasn't a thing. Too many siblings.
Mm-hmm. Has Godfrey ever had a pet?
I'd say, like, not in a traditional sense, but probably yes. Like,
Okay.
I
Interesting.
imagine the way he grew up and where he grew up, there would be strays that would come around that they
Mhm.
would take care of when they could. But like they never had like a pet with a collar and a name that they kept in the house. Like if they wandered off, they like his family was fine with them moving on, you know?
For sure.
I did have a question for you, Mystic.
Misket.
Biscuit! I can talk. Um, how do you see the Wimston Carousel Court? Like, without going into spoilers or details that we might not know, like, what is their function? What was that like spark that made you be like, yes, this is what the Wimston Carousel Court is?
That's a fantastic question. I think I can fully answer this without any spoilers because you know everything you're going to know about the Lipstick Carousel Court chapter. Except for maybe, you haven't talked to Morthos yet, but
Yeah.
you just, like, his connection is he's the leader. That's pretty much it. Which you already know. So I needed a connection on getting the party from Florencia to Wimston. Um, fully entrenched in the Carousel Court, right? So why not? Why wouldn't there be other chapters from other members? They've been established for just long enough that those other chapters would begin to take shape. But I also, in like a very evil DM way, thought it'd be really funny if like it was a total red herring for this story in particular. Yeah, there's lots of nuances there. Like I wanted you all to be invested in the adventure and like feel like there was a strong purpose and maybe even feel invested in those NPCs because of this family that is the Carousel Court. And so yeah, but it's totally just a red herring. Which is also like really hilarious to me as you guys went there and like got really frustrated by the fact that it was nothing.
Yeah.
I personally love that a lot.
Noted. Keep that in mind.
I mean, it was fun for
Frustrating.
you, right? It wasn't
Yeah.
just like, yeah.
We had a good time.
Yeah.
It's a great moment when Ziba dropped the halfling in the water. That was good.
So
That was
child on child
catharsis.
violence is okay. Sign up on that.
This might be a good point for a disclaimer. The Utopia podcast does not condone
Yeah.
Fair enough. Yeah.
any form of child violence.
I really thought you all were going to do something to the mushrooms in the cave.
We just
So
talked
that-
about that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was, in retrospect, I was like, man, I should have picked a mushroom. I should have taken one. I have an herbalism kit. I could do it. I could
Yeah.
have taken one. Those are going to be really cool if you could get them without failing.
Mhm.
But that's the gamer part of me. I think Godfrey would only do it if he knew a way to like make them into medicine.
He wouldn't
Which,
make a
like, he
weapon.
might. What's that?
He wouldn't make a weapon. He would just.
He probably wouldn't make a weapon.
I feel like
I
it
don't
wouldn't
have
be
a
his
place to
first
think.
thought.
Yeah. Wouldn't be his first thought. Might be Adam's first thought.
It wouldn't have been poison. It would have been sleep.
Oh.
Yeah.
We'll have
There.
to see if
Those
we ever
nightmares.
go back there.
Great. We are a little over time. We'll just do maybe 4 more minutes since I was gone. I'll ask one more question. Ziba, Avis, we've talked about like, does Ziba know multiplication and division? But where does Ziba stand in your mind from like a literacy perspective? Like, did
That
she
is what I
fully
am
write that
currently
letter?
trying to figure out because
Okay.
I'm still actually in the process of writing this letter. I'm trying to figure out what exactly it's saying, like what level would she know? And like I even tried when I was like home last to like look for things I had written in 5th grade to be like, what can I write as a
Yeah,
Oh, maybe I shouldn't say 5th grade. Anyways.
that's fine.
I was like,
Unless,
what can I write at that level? You know, how well was I writing?
yeah,
I'll get back to you on that. Once I have this letter written, and I
That's
send to you,
fine.
then you'll have an idea. I definitely can write, can read. Was probably forced to. Here's a question that I could have for you that could help me develop this more.
Mhm.
Is there like the my Sharia in this religion? Is there like written literature supporting it?
Mhm.
It's
It's just
not
the
just
one
like
story, though.
folklore.
Yeah.
But it is
Um,
written, is what I'm saying.
Yeah, it is written, and then same as like our real world, whenever there's some kind of text, there's shit tons of literature written around the text and like
Alright.
how to interpret it in different ways and manipulate it to support your view. Like, yeah.
Yeah,
it's-
yeah. So based on that, definitely can read, can write. Was probably forced to at some point to read those stories based
Yeah.
off of the culture of this world. How well I'm working on that.
Mhm.
I guess one more, and I don't. You don't have to answer this question, and because it might, just because of the time difference of things that's happening. Was my Sharia talking to Godfrey saying "Follow your heart" a hint?
Mm. And a hint in what way?
Like, is it helpful for what's happening on this adventure?
I don't feel like she can tell you that.
I don't think you can. That's why I said you don't have to answer this, but it's just like me as a player, like I had written down like a session or two after that had happened. There's just a part in my notes where I just repeat, like after we leave the carousel court, I just have written down multiple times, "Follow your heart, follow your heart, follow your heart." And I was like, is this actually like, is there more to this than just like a god just whispering things into Godfrey's mind? You don't have to answer that. It's just something that I had pivoted on and I had picked up on. I was like, oh,
Yeah. What I will say is I was very excited that someone finally prayed to my Sharia and I could provide that message.
okay.
That's all I'm going to say about it. And I think Daniel even like said a spoiler because obviously like they're a little farther ahead of you in the
Mhm.
Wednesday game. And so although it's a different world and there's different encounters and like I'm trying to make it as unique as possible, the general storylines are somewhat similar. And so yeah, I don't remember if I cut it out or left it, but he definitely says something distinct that I remember him saying and I just didn't bring attention to it.
I have purposely forgotten it too.
Yes.
So.
Yeah.
If I didn't have a memory of a goldfish.
Well, cool. That is our March monthly minutes. We'll try to not take so long in April. Maybe you'll see us again
Very soon.
quicker than the last time.
That's when we go live on April 1st. No other episode recorded.
We're gonna go live on
Weekly.
April 1st.
What has happened?
And
Nothing.
it's just gonna be the stream starting soon slide for an hour. Because it's April Fool's Day.
I completely forgot that was a holiday.
Anyway,
Anyway.
thanks so much.
Goodbye.
Goodbye.